started as a food truck in 2016, and it grew to 2 trucks, 3 trucks, and then we opened this brick and mortar restaurant in 2018. So this location right here, 5 years.
So I guess everything was going peaceful up until 2021.
Yeah, well, 2020.
2020. Yeah,
Everything was going great. We were actually getting ready to open multiple locations when in March of 2020 COVID hit, and everything changed from there, obviously.
Yeah, so tell me what happened.
So in March of 2020, COVID hit. Like everybody else, I had no idea what COVID was about, so I took it seriously. I shut my restaurant down in March of 2020. And then in June of 2020, when former Governor Northam said, okay, restaurants, you can open back up, but under these provisions, it's when I really started to realize that something else was going on here that was more about control than it was our health and safety. And the reason is the mandates just made absolutely no sense. And they were unconstitutional on their face. So I wasn't going to be complicit in violating my customers or my employees' constitutional rights. I mean, I fought for 10 years in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I fought against dictatorships to make sure those dictatorships got nowhere near the United States of America. And the last thing that I was going to do was allow a dictatorship to rule here in my country. So that's the main reason why I fought back.
Unfortunately, we've gone through so many phases, and for us, there was Maryland, D.C., and Virginia, so I don't remember exactly what was happening at that time.
Yeah.
Was it like capacity restrictions? Was it masking? What were they asking you to do?
They were asking me to make sure all of my employees wore a mask, and they were asking me to make sure all of my customers wore a mask until they got to the table. But the mandates that made absolutely zero sense at all, besides those, were, like, for example, they told me nobody could sit at my bar, but I could pull the table up to the bar and somebody could sit at that table. And then my bartender could make a drink right in front of somebody, but couldn't pass it over the bar. They had to walk around the bar and hand it to them side by side. Just mandates that made absolutely no sense. And I realized that something's going on here, and it's not about our safety. It's not about our health. It's about control.
So despite your feelings on that, the ABC served you with a notice of violation, right?
Well, so what happened is initially my health department license was suspended, and we appealed that decision. And at that point, the health department filed an injunction against me. So we went to court for that injunction, and I won. I beat the Virginia Department of Health in court for that injunction, and in turn, they had to give me my health department license back. The ABC only suspended my license because the health department suspended my health department license, because in Virginia, the two are connected. So when I beat the Virginia Department of Health in court, I figured that the ABC would give me my ABC license back, because the only reason they took it was because the health department took my health department license. So we went before the ABC board, and they said, no, we're not giving it back to you. You operated without a valid ABC license. And we said, yeah, I did, but I only had to because you unconstitutionally and illegally took it away from me. The Virginia Department of Health gave me my health department license back. They lost in court, so you should have to give me my ABC license back. And they basically said, no, we're not doing it. So I continued to operate as usual, continue to sell alcohol, continue to sell food, and that took us to where we are today.
Yeah, so you have 2 parties, you and you guys have been fighting for more than almost 3 years now.
Yep.
Or 2.5. So then today happens, tell me what happened today.
Yeah, so my case was heard in circuit court about 4 months ago, and the judge sided with the state. And he basically said, regardless of the reason they took your license, whether it was unconstitutional or unlawful, doesn't matter. They took it from you and you continue to operate. And you weren't complying. So we're going to shut you down. And I don't care if it's a judge. I don't care if it's a legislator, if it's a governor, if it's a police force. If you tell me to do something unconstitutional, if you try to strip me of my constitutional rights, I'm fighting back. I've been fighting for my country since I was 17 years old. I've been willing to die for my country since I was 17 years old. And until I leave this earth, I'll be willing to die for my country. So when he made that decision, when the judge made that decision, I said I'm going to continue to fight back. So I continued to serve alcohol because I didn't violate any ABC laws ever. All I did was stand up for my constitutional rights. So I continued to sell alcohol even after the judge's decision. Fast forward to today, today, the Virginia ABC enforcement agents, as well as the Virginia State Police, they came in, raided my restaurant. They flooded my restaurant with like 20 police officers, confiscated every drop of alcohol I have in my restaurant, tried to confiscate my POS systems, and they basically stripped me of my livelihood. They stripped me of my ability to provide for my family, all for unconstitutional reasons.
We were talking while you were in the restroom, and that was where the alcohol was.
Exactly.
How much alcohol did you guys use?
We have a great customer base, and to me, they're not even customers. To me, they're family. They have been with me from the beginning, and they've been fighting with me from the beginning. And my restaurant stays packed, and it stays packed because the people know when they come into Gourmelts, they're stepping back into what the United States of America used to be, free. They're stepping into freedom. And so they love the environment. We have a great environment, a great vibe here at Gourmelts, and the customers, they love and sitting back and enjoying it. So we always have a huge crowd out there, and we run through a lot of alcohol.
Yeah. Can I ask, like, ballpark, was it thousands of dollars worth of alcohol?
It was thousands of dollars that they confiscated from me. Thousands of dollars. Tens of thousands of dollars that they confiscated from me.
This is not to say that you guys have slow nights here or anything like that, but it looks like it's pretty active out there. Are there people who are coming in right now because of what happened?
Absolutely. I have people calling me from all over the state of Virginia. I have people here right now that came from out of state. I have people that as soon as they saw what happened to me this morning, they started calling me and they said, "Hey Matt, I'm coming from Maryland. Never been to your restaurant before, don't know much about your story. I just researched it real quick, but thank you for standing up for my rights. I'm coming to patronize your business." And as you can see, the Patriots here in America, when one of us are under attack, we back each other up. And there's more Patriots in this America, in this country. There's more Patriots and more people who realize exactly what's going on than people think and than people know. The majority of Americans are not satisfied with what's going on right now in America. And that's our representation on both sides of the aisle. Americans are not satisfied with the representation that we're being afforded on both sides of the aisle. So when somebody takes a stand like I'm taking, and I'm taking it for them, I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing this for my business, because obviously it would have been easier for me, it would have been better for me business-wise to have settled with the state of Virginia a long time ago and just go on about my way. But I'm not, my point in all of this, my goal is not for this to just be gone. It's not to make this go away. My point in all of this is to make sure that this doesn't happen to somebody ever again. And I won't stop until the people win.
You're talking about representation. I got two questions on that. First of all, Chase was here earlier today, is my understanding. And then your delegate, Scott, he's introducing legislation, he says, regarding what happened here. Are you surprised to see their reaction to this? And are you also surprised by the social media reaction?
I'm not surprised by the social media reaction, because there's so many patriots that you don't realize here in America. And there's so many people, the majority of people are not satisfied with the representation that our government has given us. So I'm not surprised the way social media has reacted in support of me, because people are just waiting for somebody to step up and fight so they can get behind them and fight with them. And you see that right now by the crowd.
The lawmakers, though, are you surprised by that they're stepping in?
Well, I'm not surprised that Amanda Chase has stepped out and got behind me and backed me up, and I'm not surprised that she's supporting me because she's a patriot. And when it comes to legislation and when it comes to standing up for the people, she, majority of the time, if not all the time, she does the right thing. I am disappointed that my legislators are not stepping up and supporting me.
Tell me this about the other political question I had. Richmond, Youngkin and Miyares, do you want to see the state get involved in a higher level above the VABC? I know there's a past there too. I mean, how do you feel about them and possible participation? Do you want to see them be involved? Do you expect them to be involved?
Absolutely. I mean, I talked to Governor Youngkin multiple times, and I know what he stands for. I know what Governor Youngkin promised the people when he was on the campaign trail. And I know he ran on the premise that COVID mandates were unconstitutional and just straight up wrong. And that's the reason why so many people voted for him. And that's the reason why we elected him as our governor. So I do expect him to step up, and I do expect him to get involved in this situation right here with me. And he still has time to do so, and I'm hoping he does.
You know, a lot of people are going to watch this, and they're going to disagree with you politically, and they're going to say this wasn't unconstitutional, this is what the law was, and this is what the governor said was democratically elected. This is how it should be. What is your response to that?
My response to that would be, it is absolutely unconstitutional. The COVID mandates violated multiple articles in the Constitution, And if they disagree with me, that's fine. But one day, I truly believe they'll realize that this fight that I'm taking on right now is for them as well. And we will be successful. We will win. And I will make sure, even the people that disagree with me, I'll make sure their kids are protected from the prosecution that I'm going through right now.
I'm just going through Facebook comments in my head that don't exist yet. But some people would also say, I mean, are you doing this for attention? Are you doing this to get more people in? Would you say against that?
Absolutely not. I'm doing this for one reason, and one reason only, and that's to make sure that this never happens to anybody ever again. I'm doing this to save my country. I'm doing this to save the state of Virginia. My family's been in Virginia since Virginia started. My family goes back 5 generations here in Virginia. I love this state. I'm not running from this state. I'm not going to leave Virginia and run to another state that, like Florida or another conservative state where the laws are more conservative. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stand here in Virginia, and I'm going to save my state.
2 more quick questions here for you. Obviously, you're running for office here. I mean, did your decision to run for office spur from everything that happened in 2020?
Absolutely. My decision to run for office came from my legislators here in the area not supporting me. I reached out to each and every one of them when I started fighting against the COVID mandates, and I heard back from none of them. So I started digging into who these people are that are representing me, and I was disappointed in what I found out. So I realized that the only way things change is if people who don't want to be politicians start stepping up and taking these seats. And we've got criminal politicians on both the left and the right of the aisle. And I'm coming to expose all of them.
Tell me what's next here. I mean, there's obviously probably a legal battle next. Are you going to continue selling alcohol? What comes next for you?
I'm going to continue to fight. I don't know what's next because nobody has ever taken it this far in Virginia. There's no other restaurant in Virginia that has stood their ground like I'm doing. So there's no playbook on it. I have no idea what comes next, but I'm not worried about what comes next. I know what ultimately comes, and that's the people win. What ultimately comes is the people will one day enjoy freedoms unmolested.
But I guess the question of who is you're still trying to figure out what your next step is.
Right.
Can't think of anything else. Anything I didn't ask you that you want to say?
I think you covered it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was much longer than in most of my interviews anyway, so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So